The Hell Angles riders weren't a gang. They were a brotherhood born from rough roads and broken pasts. They rode to protect those the world ignored.
Something small sat alone beside the gravel shoulder. A boy, trembling, wrapped in a torn superhero blanket. Barefoot, shaking, alone. Bolt signaled the others. The riders formed a protective circle, engines rumbling low like guarded lions. Steel knelt beside the child. Shadow hovered silently nearby. Ghost slipped off his jacket and draped it gently over the boy's shoulders. Between tears and gasping breaths, the child spoke of masked men, roaring trucks, a kicked-in door, parents screaming as they were dragged away. He had run until his feet bled. Now, hope had found him riding on Steel. "Please, help my mommy and daddy," the boy whispered. Steel removed his helmet. His stern but gentle eyes lifted to meet the gaze of his brothers. No words were needed. One nod, and their mission was decided. They returned with the boy to his shattered home. Steel and Bolt studied the broken doorframe. Rox examined heavy boot prints while Ghost inspected a dropped radio device. Shadow circled the house silently, scanning every angle with razor focus. The kidnappers were professionals, but even professionals leave traces. Bolt found tire marks dusted with quarry residue. Rox noticed patterns leading toward an old forest trail. A direction formed, toward the abandoned mining district, a place even law enforcement avoided. Back at their hidden garage, the riders prepared. Steel packed non-lethal flash grenades. Ghost tested his drone. Rox sharpened climbing hooks. Shadow tucked smoke capsules into his vest. Bolt analyzed maps and terrain. They didn't kill. Their weapon was skill. Their mission, protect the innocent. Engines roared to life as they sped toward the forgotten mining district. Rusted towers rose like skeletal giants. Bolt studied the terrain. Ghost scanned ahead. Rox watched their rear while Shadow melted into the environment like a shifting shadow. Ghost's drone flew through broken windows, accessing tunnels and rooms the men couldn't reach. What they saw on the screen hardened every face. A mother and father bound, surrounded by armed kidnappers. They were alive. Enough to ignite the riders' resolve. Behind a rusted freight car, Steel outlined the warehouse layout in the dust. Bolt calculated guard rotations. Shadow pointed out blind spots. Ghost marked camera angles. Rox stretched his neck, ready for impact. Silent wing operation began. Bolt and Rox climbed to the roof. Shadow drifted between crates so silently he almost wasn't real. Steel circled the perimeter like a hunting lion, while Ghost guided them through the comms. The kidnappers had no idea angels were descending. Shadow sliced the main power line. Darkness swallowed the compound. Flashlights flickered. Panic erupted. Steel disarmed a guard with swift, controlled force. Bolt subdued another, silently. Ghost triggered distraction lights. Rox handled incoming attackers with raw strength. They weren't there for revenge. They were there to save. Bolt cut the parents' ropes. The mother collapsed into Rox's arms, sobbing. Steel steadied the father. Shadow watched the corridor, unmoving, a sentinel in the dark. But gunfire erupted as they tried to escape. Shadow threw smoke. Bolt guided the family through the fog. Ghost jammed enemy radios. Rox shielded the father while Steel pushed forward with the mother. A rusted beam cracked overhead, collapsing. Ghost pushed the mother aside just in time as Steel dragged the father clear of the falling debris. Shadow tore through obstacles like a phantom until a path opened for escape. Bikes roared to life. Steel lifted the father onto his ride. Bolt helped the mother onto Rox's motorcycle. Ghost guarded the rear. The quarry shook under their thunder as the riders carried the family into freedom. At dawn, they arrived at the safe house. Inside, the boy, exhausted, woke from a restless sleep. The moment he saw his parents being carried inside, he ran, screaming joyfully, throwing his arms around them as tears streamed down all three faces. His happiness lit the entire room. Soon after, trusted officers arrived quietly. The riders handed over the captured criminals. Bolt stood watch. Shadow remained hidden in the corner. Steel ensured the family's statements were recorded safely. Justice moves slowly, until the right hands push it forward. When it was time to leave, the little boy ran to Steel and hugged him tightly. A small bracelet of red strings slipped from the boy's wrist. He tied it onto Steel's glove with tiny trembling fingers. Behind Steel, Bolt, Ghost, Rox, and Shadow stood quietly, proud, silent, ready for the next call of the road. Heroes don't wait for applause. They rise when darkness covers the world and vanish once the light returns. Engines roared. The sunrise glowed. The riders rode on.